In almost every country on Earth, what you just saw is the end of the story. When you flush, the water is gone. It becomes waste. It becomes a problem to be hidden, buried, or dumped into the ocean. But in Israel, that flush is just the beginning. It is the start of a journey that will take that water through 90 kilometers of pipes, filter it through sand dunes for a year, and end up here, inside a juicy export-grade avocado growing in the Negev desert. The statistics are staggering. Spain, the second-best country in the world at this, recycles about 17% of its wastewater. The United States recycles less than 4%. Israel recycles 90%. It is a world record that isn't just a statistic, it is a survival strategy. Today, we are looking at a grand structure that is mostly invisible. It is a machine made of biological reactors, ancient sand dunes, and a massive purple artery that keeps the desert alive. This is the story of how Israel turned its filthiest problem into its most strategic asset. We have to go to the source, or rather, the sink. This is the Shaftan. Located south of Tel Aviv, near the city of Rishon LeZion, it is one of the largest and most advanced wastewater treatment plants in the world. Every time 2.5 million people in the greater Tel Aviv area take a shower, run a dishwasher, or use the bathroom, that water flows here. We are talking about 370,000 cubic meters of sewage every single day. That is enough to fill the Empire State Building with wastewater every week. The first steps are standard. Large mechanical rakes remove the gross solids, the wet wipes, the plastic, the things that shouldn't be there. Then, the water goes into massive biological reactors. Here, billions of bacteria feast on the organic matter, breaking it down. In most countries, this is where it stops. The water is clean enough to be dumped into a river without killing the fish. But in Israel, clean enough is not enough. This water isn't being dumped, it's being harvested. This is the secret weapon of the Shaftan. It's called Soil Aquifer Treatment, or SAT, and it relies on a piece of technology that is millions of years old: sand. The Shaftan takes that partially cleaned water and floods it into massive open-air basins built on top of natural sand dunes. The water slowly sinks into the sand. As it travels down through 30 meters of silica, the sand acts as a massive natural biofilter. It scrubs out remaining particles, pathogens, and chemicals. But it doesn't just filter it, it stores it. The water hits an underground aquifer where it sits for 6 months to a year. It is a natural underground reservoir. By the time they pump it back out, the water is crystal clear. It is odorless. It is, chemically speaking, almost drinking water. They call it Shaftan effluent. But you can't drink it, not because it would hurt you, but because of the yuck factor. So instead of putting it in a glass, they put it in a pipe, a very big pipe. If the Shaftan is the heart, this is the aorta. It is called the third line to the Negev. This is a dedicated pipeline, completely separate from the fresh drinking water grid. In Israel, water pipes are color-coded: blue for fresh, purple for recycled. This purple line runs for 90 kilometers, carrying that polished Shaftan water from the center of the country deep into the arid south. The water doesn't go straight to the farms. It goes to massive storage reservoirs like Nir Am and Takuma. These reservoirs are critical batteries for the system. People create sewage 365 days a year, but farmers only need water in the summer. So in the winter, the Shaftan fills these massive lakes, storing the water until the dry season. Standing next to one of these reservoirs, you would think you were looking at a freshwater lake. Birds land on it. The wind ripples the surface. But this entire lake was once, well, you know. This infrastructure changed the geography of Israel. Before the third line, the Negev was limited. You could only grow what the scant rain allowed. Today, 60% of agriculture in the Negev is irrigated with this recycled water. The desert blooms not because of rain, but because of Tel Aviv. So, why do farmers use it? Is it because they are environmentalists? No, it's because of economics. Fresh water in Israel is expensive. It comes from energy-intensive desalination plants. But this recycled water, it is subsidized. The government sells it to farmers at a fraction of the cost of fresh water. If you want to make a profit growing potatoes in the desert, you have to use the purple pipe. This has allowed Israel to grow thirsty crops in a place that has no business growing them. Cotton, jojoba, dates, these are major export crops sold to Europe and Asia. When you buy an Israeli grapefruit in a London supermarket, you are essentially buying exported, processed, solar-powered wastewater. But this system is not perfect. There is a hidden enemy: salt. Every time we use water, for cooking, for cleaning, for industry, we add salts to it. Detergents, soaps, and human biology all add sodium and boron. The sewage treatment removes the bacteria, but it doesn't remove the salt. Over decades, if you keep watering a field with salty water, the soil gets ruined. It's called salinization. It is the silent killer of civilizations. Israel realized this danger in the early 2000s. The solution was brilliant. To lower the salt in the sewage, they had to lower the salt in the drinking water first. By shifting the country's drinking supply to desalinated seawater, which has almost zero salt, the resulting sewage became much less salty. They fixed the wastewater by fixing the tap water. The Shaftan is a massive, centralized beast, but the future of wastewater is smart, decentralized, and digital. This is where the startup nation kicks in. One of the biggest problems for a treatment plant is industrial poisoning. If a factory illegally dumps a vat of acid or oil into the sewer, it can kill the biological bacteria in the treatment plant. It can shut down the whole system. Enter Condo. This Israeli startup treats the sewer network like a data network. They place thousands of IoT, or Internet of Things, sensors inside the manholes under the city. These sensors taste the sewage in real time. If a factory dumps toxic waste at 3 a.m., Condo's AI detects the chemical spike, traces it back to the specific source, and alerts the authorities before the poison even reaches the treatment plant. It is surveillance for sludge. Then there is Fluence, formerly MFC. They realized that not every village can connect to the Shaftan. They developed MABR, Membrane Aerated Biofilm Reactor. It's a spiraled membrane that forces air directly into the bacteria, saving 90% of the energy used for aeration. It allows a small kibbutz or a remote village to have a Shaftan quality treatment plant in a shipping container. So, where does this go next? The goal is zero discharge. Israel is getting close to the theoretical limit of how much water you can reuse. You can't recycle 100% because some water is lost to evaporation or leaks. But the next frontier is micropollutants, pharmaceuticals, hormones, antibiotics, the things that pass through our bodies and into the water. The Shaftan sand filters are good at catching these, but not perfect. New research, like the DataSat project with Germany, is trying to optimize the sand filtration to target these specific molecules. The ultimate goal is a closed loop where nothing leaves the system. The city drinks the water, uses it, treats it, grows food with it, and the food returns to the city. For most of human history, wastewater was a hazard. It brought cholera, typhoid, and death. Civilizations collapsed because they couldn't manage it. Israel took this hazard and turned it into a resource. They built a grand structure that doesn't just clean water, it creates water. In a world that is getting hotter, drier, and more crowded, the purple pipe isn't just an Israeli oddity, it is a blueprint. As places like California, Arizona, and Spain face their own mega-droughts, they're looking at the Shaftan and realizing the water of the future isn't in the clouds, it's right beneath our feet. What do you think? Would you eat vegetables grown with recycled water? Or does the yuck factor still bother you? Let me know in the comments below.